Hello, and welcome to the 60 for 30 project. My name is Xander Miller of Kenosha Public Library, and I'm sitting here with Dan Stika. Dan, how are you doing today?
Very good, very good. Thank you very much.
Awesome. So Dan, what area did you grow up in, or what area are you from?
I was born and raised in Kenosha 81 years ago, and on the north side of town, probably the best side of the city. North side. I mean, I hate to brag, but the north side is comparatively great in comparison to other parts.
Okay, so North Sider, awesome. So are you still North Sider?
Still on the north side, yes, exactly. I'm near the Dream Playground.
Okay.
In fact, I used to work at Eaton Corporation, Dynamatic. I worked there for roughly 41 years, and fantastic place, fantastic opportunity to. Once again, it's an unheard of thing. I mean, people never worked in the present day and age. People don't work that long in any one facility. But back in the day, so to speak, I hate that back in the day, but back in the day, working at a place, as long as it was good and the pay was good and the work ethic itself was great, it was a pleasure to be there. Right.
So 41 years.
41 years, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So, what have you experienced as Kenosha's culture, or what is Kenosha's culture to you?
Well, speaking of Kenosha, it's a positive thing, but it wasn't always this way. I mean, I've been through the good times and the bad times. I mean, it's like a roller coaster. We've had some real good vibes, so to speak, and other times not so good. But it's all in a matter of how you take it. The culture itself has changed, which is great. We're getting an influx of out of state residents, and by that token, we're bringing in new cultures into the area, which is extremely fascinating. Extremely fascinating. It's like New York being a melting pot. Well, Kenosha's a melting pot. I think it's really special, and I just look forward to getting up every morning and going out there and seeing what is taking place in our wonderful city of Kenosha.
Wow. So what are some of those good things that have come into Kenosha over time?
Well, we had a serious situation there when Chrysler had vacated the city, and at that time, this is an interesting concept too, because Walter Winchell, this takes us back to like 1950s. Walter Winchell was a newscaster out of New York, and he made a comment one time on his program that if Nash Motors, American Motors at that time, goes out of business, Kenosha will be a ghost town. And we're talking back in that time frame. And when Chrysler did vacate, I mean, that could have been the demise of Kenosha itself. But fortunately, cooler heads prevailed. And the industrialists got together, and basically that was the renaissance for Kenosha. I mean, we're not a manufacturing quote-unquote society, but we're a cultural center. We're a lot of universities here. Well, we have 5 universities at Bliss. So it's really amazing, and due to that, Kenosha has been able to revive itself, so to speak, and become a cultural pedestal for people to look at. You know.
Yeah. So it's like Kenosha's rolled with the changes.
They have rolled with the changes, and that's a good thing. Once again, you've got your ups and downs, but it's primarily on the upswing, not the downswing.
Yeah. What were some of those downs or bad things that you mentioned?
Well, like I say, the moving of the industry itself, vacating a lot of industry that left here. I mean, going way back to Simmons Corporation when they were here, where the museums are right now. Once that left, and then of course when Nash Motors came in, American Motors and Chrysler, and then when they vacated, that really prompted a lot of positive things again. Reclaiming the property, putting up the museums, and just very special, very special.
So it wasn't, I hear so much about the Chrysler Center, but it wasn't just Chrysler. There were so many other companies that were
A lot of
here.
companies going, well, you had Snap-on here, and that was Dynamatic used to be in Kenosha also. Mack White used to be here in Kenosha. Triclover, a lot of factories, employed a lot of employees.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So with those changes, we're talking like kind of 50s, 60s. How is that? What other changes have occurred over time for Kenosha that you've noticed?
Well, once again, the fact that universities have taken root here in Kenosha. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Carthage College, a major advancement along the lakefront here. It's really special. Gateway Technical College. I mean, going from Kenosha Technical Institute to the Gateway College,
Mm-hmm.
it's really special. Those are positive things, you know.
So education here.
Education
higher
itself,
ed.
and you never outgrow your need for education. This
Mhm.
is very true.
Yeah, it's interesting that you can have the technical college experience and go to Parkside, Carthage,
Yes,
whichever
yes.
one afterwards.
You don't have to travel out of the city.
Mm-hmm.
You can stay right here if you're so inclined.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't go elsewhere, but you can stay right here and get your education, a well-rounded education.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a 1979 graduate of Gateway,
Okay.
and I worked my working career. And when I retired in 2001, I went back to school. I went to Cardinal Stritch. Cardinal Stritch met right here at the Radisson Hotel on 165.
Okay.
And I got my undergraduate. I'm an official BSer also.
Mm-hmm.
The BS representing Bachelor of Science.
Okay, I was like, wait, what do you mean? Like, okay, yeah.
And once I got that degree, I thought, geez, this isn't too bad. You know, this was an accelerated program.
Mm-hmm.
We went to school once a week, and every Wednesday our cohort went to school. And going through, I thought, well, if when I graduate, I'm going to go on for my master's. And what I did, I went to UW-Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
I was accepted there, and that was a traditional school.
Yep.
And I ended up getting my master's in liberal studies from UW-Milwaukee.
Okay.
In fact, I picked up 2 degrees then within an 8-year period.
And this is all after you
After I retired.
Wow.
And this was the challenge. You talk about total immersion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, going through high school, I couldn't wait to graduate. Going through high school, I was in the upper third of my upper half of the bottom third of my graduating class.
Okay.
Upper half of the bottom third.
Wow. Okay. And you're just like, I'm done.
You're
done with school after.
Being facetious there, upper half of the bottom third.
Mm-hmm. I'm just like, wait, is that a good or a bad thing? And then, after so many years, you go back to school.
It's tough. I can't. But I mean, I was older than a lot of the students going to school,
Mm-hmm.
especially going to Milwaukee. I mean, that was which was good. I was able to interact with them, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to share with them, and they would share with me with their experiences. So it was a fun gig, so as the saying goes.
Just going back to school.
Going back to school, yeah. It was traveling back and forth to Milwaukee, but that wasn't that bad,
Mm-hmm. And that's really close by to Kenosha.
It is very
as well.
close by, exactly, yeah. It was, I look back and I had fun. I really enjoyed that, Never got any speeding tickets going up. Yeah, it was enjoyable. But to get the degree, I still pitch myself on that regard too. I mean, going back to school, and then to top it all off, I was able to write a couple books
Mm-hmm.
after I graduated. And once again, going through with a master's degree, you have to have a thesis.
Yep.
And I'm a volunteer at the Public Museum. And being there, people would come in and say, why a Civil War museum in Kenosha? I mean, what have we done here? I says, don't get me started,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of things that have transpired regarding the troops the soldiers that left Kenosha, that went into the Civil War. And with the thesis, I tried to uncover some facet of the Civil War that really was closely associated with Kenosha. Uncovered the fact that we had a governor from Wisconsin, Lewis Powell Harvey, who served out of Kenosha. We have a Harvey Elementary here in Kenosha also.
Mm-hmm.
That's the namesake. But he visited the Wisconsin soldiers down after the Battle of Shiloh down in Tennessee. And he's transferring one ship to another in the Tennessee River, and he fell overboard and drowned. 100 days in office. Well, once this transpired, his wife then, Cordelia Adelaide Perini Harvey, she took up the cause and actually visited President Lincoln in the White House a number of times. And each time she would visit him, he would say, well, we can't do that because once they leave, they'll desert. She said, dead men cannot fight, or will they desert? I mean, this was her mantra, her comeback, and eventually he did relent and authorized funding for 3 hospitals here in Wisconsin for the walking wounded. Mm-hmm. And by virtue of that, you had healthy soldiers going back into the war effort. Fascinating. I mean, it was just really... and of course, the other book on the Rhodey Theater, Rhodey Center for the Arts, I take us back to 1897 on that book, and it revolves around what it was a Rhodey Opera House at that time, mm-hmm. and they take us through telling what the name changes were and all the entertainers that appeared there, and it's just fascinating, very fascinating. Once again, not one for bragging. Far be it for me to brag, but these books are superb. They are superb. I mean, they're educational. Mm-hmm. In fact, I've had teachers come to me even with the when Wisconsin Lincoln, the book. They're using my book as a method teaching in their own classrooms, which is fascinating. I enjoy that.
Yeah, and it's we have the books at the library as well.
You do, right? Exactly. So exactly.
It's another way that you've taken your experiences through education,
right.
through all that, to
right.
bring it back to here, and also as volunteering at the Civil War Museum itself.
No, I don't. A public museum.
Oh, public museum.
Public museum. Right, exactly. Yeah. I'm going on 20 years at the public museum.
Wow.
September 15th, I think, is 20 years. Yeah. So.
And it's interesting that you knew the businesses that were that land before the museums were there.
Bringing that up now, when people come in to visit the museum, I can share that information with them, and they're fascinated. Mm-hmm. Because the First Avenue east of the museum, everything east of that was water, was Lake Michigan, mm-hmm. and that when Chrysler moved out, all that land was reclaimed. But it's fun to talk about that area where the museum is now. Was classified as the brownfields. I mean, you had Simmons there for like 100 years, and mm-hmm. Nash Motors, American Motors, and even Renault was in there. They built cars, and then Chrysler came in. So it's really fascinating, and people just they're leaving with some more knowledge than what they came in with. And we've been coming to Kenosha all these years, and we didn't realize all that transpired. Well, you haven't talked to me before. Bragging here,
So what are some of these real significant events that have transpired in Kenosha that you do get to talk about that have affected how Kenosha has begun? We've already talked about how the industries that were here and their being here and then leaving here. What other big events have happened?
The downtown redevelopment, I think, is a major factor also. Mm-hmm. When I was going to school, we're talking like high school, late 50s. The downtown was thriving. Every store front was occupied, and we used to do what was known as Scoop the Loop. Mm-hmm. And every Friday night, which was fascinating, and cars would be cruising around constantly on Fridays, and it was a really fun thing. Then all of a sudden, the downtowns more or less went vacant, and everything went out to the suburbs. All your malls started taking place, and now it's transitioning back into the downtown area. The malls themselves, a lot of them are closing up, and people are finding out, well, the downtown isn't so bad, And of course, a couple of things too at downtown. They had made a mall out of downtown. They closed off all the streets. That was a travesty in itself. They just thinking that you could walk through the downtown. I mean, they had paving bricks in there. You had a fountain, all kinds of things, but it did not work out because you would have to be able to drive or walk past stores. Not walk so much, but driving. And you see what's in the store. Oh, that's a store there. I have to come back here and go in that store. You don't see these things when it's a vacated mall. You know, I mean, that's not good. Not good at all. Yeah.
So it's like the visibility is really
Yeah,
important.
visibility is what matters. Exactly right. Very true.
So that all that downtown restoration.
Yes, the
such a
restoration is coming back. It's just, I mean, leave it on weekends now. You can't find a place to park.
Mhm.
It's really special. And once again, the Rotary Theater is coming back. Also, that's the only viable entertainment venue of significance, so to speak. I mean, we had a lot of movie houses in the city at one time, but this is the only one that's really not a movie house, but a stage performing. You know.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fun, yeah. If you haven't been downtown, get down there. Come to the museum and see me. Say hi, Dan.
So just going downtown is
Going
just
downtown is yeah,
experiencing.
exactly right, yeah.
Okay. So we talk downtown, we talk restoration, and things going to the suburbs. Have you seen? You said there are things returning downtown. Is there still that focus on suburbs though?
Oh yes, you have a lot of things that are taking place. A lot of. I'm on the north side of town, and what's happening now? One time, nothing would ever build on the north side. Everything was going on the southwest side of the city. Well, now Walmart came in on off of 31 and Washington Road, and Sam's Club is out there now. There's a whole stretch of businesses that are going up on 31 north of Washington Road. It's really special. I mean, you've got, the names are escaping me here, you know, but, well, Festival Foods for one big thing. And a lot of other ones. That was an anchor store almost, and other places, car washes, gas stations. It's really special, and that's good. I'm glad to see that happen. I mean, it's a very lucrative area. I mean, you're on a main thoroughfare, Highway 31, between Racine, Kenosha here, and I-94 with a lot of industry, a lot of things going on there also. The corridor there is fantastic. I think that's the second busiest in the country. I'm not too sure about that, but these are some of the stories that I've heard.
Like that 75, 5th, and 94.
Exactly, between Chicago, Milwaukee. I mean, come on, that's really special. You know.
So North Side as well is getting a lot.
North Side is getting a lot of look-sees, and it's good. I'm glad to see that, and it helps. I mean, your mom and pop store, so to speak, plus the chain outfits coming in. It's Kenosha is a fun place to be part of. If you're seeing this, if you're living elsewhere, come to Kenosha. I don't want to tell you what to do. Come to Kenosha. This is where it's happening.
Okay, and you've experienced so much.
I have, and like I say, it hasn't all been good, but you have to take the good with the bad, and you can have doom and gloom on anything, but there's always the little light at the end of the tunnel that. It's going to get better. It's going to get better, and it has, which is good. You know, I have that positive outlook on life.
Yeah,
I retired from active manufacturing, but not from active life.
So, what things would you like to see for Kenosha's future?
A continuation of what is transpiring right now, as far as all the potential buildings that will be going up. The new city hall will be going up. The convention, the art center that's being proposed. A lot of positive things are in the middle right now, and I want to see those come to fruition.
So it's like you
that
want
will
to
help,
see
yeah.
those big projects for
big projects, and
developing.
that will put Kenosha back on a map in a positive way again. Right? Exactly.
Is there anything else you just maybe even like say 5-10 years from now? What could you see?
Probably growth. Kenosha getting much bigger than what it is right now, in a good way. And just keep a positive outlook on the future of Kenosha. That's all I can say. You know, and I think the people we have running the city, people that we have involved with industry, with everything else within the area of confines of Kenosha and the city and the county, are doing a marvelous job.
So right now, keeping that positive vibe, as you
Exactly.
said way earlier.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah.
Okay. So, if there's anything we've missed just in conversation, or something that you'd like the Kenosha community as a whole, or Kenosha leaders to know as a whole, what would that be?
Well, once again, just continue with your way of thinking. I mean, you got some good ideas. Make sure that those ideas come to fruition. I mean, go out there and extol the virtues of these events that you're talking about. I mean, like the Kingfish, the baseball team. I mean, that's really come a long way. And what it takes there is new management, a new regime, so to speak, that came in. The Northwoods League, I mean, they put some money up for this thing, and the Kingfish really turned. The Simmons Ballpark, renovating the ballpark, I mean, that was a positive. That could have gone belly up also. But fortunately, cooler heads prevailed, and they made that into something very viable. I mean, you get the peanut butter and jam that take place here during the summer, which is fascinating. The Jazz Fest, the Mary Lou Mahone Jazz Fest festival, which is fantastic. And of course, due to the pandemic, a lot of things were curtailed. The Cheesapalooza and the Taste of Wisconsin, a lot of these things did not come to fruition, but they will hopefully in the future. And but these are all positive things again that are part of the well-being of the city of Kenosha.
Yeah, it's like those areas that have been in Kenosha. You'd like to see them stay or be revitalized, used again.
Exactly. And what, like I mentioned before, that the influx of people come in from elsewhere bring with them new thoughts, new ideas, and they do put them into play, which is kind of nice. And once again, being the melting pot, so to speak, it does help. It does help any community, and I think all these people are doing a remarkable job.
Yeah, even coming through this whole pandemic.
That's right. Exactly right. That is really amazing in itself. Yeah.
Okay, with the pandemic, just as it was mentioned, what do you see bringing these events back into Kenosha? Because we're still in it, and how has that also affected you and your time here?
Well, see, that's the thing. The fear factor, so to speak, is still there yet regarding the pandemic. I mean, you've got people now that are hesitant. They're calling them anti-vaxxers, and the people don't want to wear masks. Well, all that curtails things also. You have to be safe out there. You can't just go be run of the mill and continue with what's going on, because it's not business as usual. I mean, things have really changed drastically, and until people realize what is safe and what is unsafe, you've got to take things and work for the advantage of the population, of the citizens. And I mean, if you're asked to do certain things, do them. You can't be negative. You can't say, well, I'm not going to do this. I don't want to, because you're affecting the well-being of other people, and that isn't fair. I mean, you're affecting the livelihood of other people. You got events that are conceivably being stopped because of the lack of people taking a vaccine or wearing a mask. Not good at all.
And so, it's like from what you're saying, it's like there is a greater, there's a community focus, and keeping that community focus with vaccinations, masks is really the key.
That is a key. And people are not just talking to be talking. They're talking for the benefit of the people themselves. I mean, if you're asked the vaccine, you can't be negative. I mean, the vaccine is helping. The mask, and they're saying, well, the mask isn't working. Well, it's helping. It's helping. You can't discount all this stuff.
So it's just part of that trust.
It's part of the trust. Exactly right. That's very true. Good point. Yeah.
Okay.
You got people in leadership positions that are asking you to do these things, and like I say, they're not just, as the saying goes, not just blowing smoke. They're telling you the things, the facts. So take heed, please. Take heed. We will all survive. We'll all come out of this thing in a better place.
Yeah, we'll come out of it stronger. Right?
Exactly right. Yeah.
Well, Dan, thank you so much for sitting down with me. This is great to hear from you.
Oh, this is fantastic. I enjoy it. Are we done?
We can't.
No, we're just getting started. I appreciate this. I appreciate being able to come on and share some of my thoughts. I hope that people out there realize what a wonderful community we have here, and keep buying things, keep the businesses alive, and going to all the events and things of that nature, and visiting the museum, and buying books,
checking out books.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Well, thank you again.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you.